Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 6. Today we are going to present about human resources management in retail business. But before we start, I'm going to introduce you to our group member. The first one is me, Fiona, Kemala, Renata, and then Muhammad Aqil Kurniawan, and the last one is Santika Krismulyadi. The first topic is about objective of human resources management. Retailers achieve their financial objective by effectively managing their 5 critical assets, which is allocation, merchandise inventory, channels, employees, and customer. And then the 3 measures that retailers frequently use to assess HRM performance are productivity, which can be improved by increasing the sales generated by employees and reducing the number of employees. And then turnover and also the engagement. Engagement is an emotional commitment by an employee to the organization and its goals. It goes beyond employees' happiness and satisfaction. Engaged employees care about their works and their company. Therefore, these retailers focus on minimizing labor costs. The next slide. Next is about challenge in retail human resource management. First, balancing the human resource triad. The full potential of a retailer's human resource is realized when 3 elements of HR triad work together, which is HR professionals, store managers, and employees. Next, expenses control. Retailers must control their expenses if they are to be profitable. To control costs, retailers often hire people with little or no experience to work as sales associates, bank tellers, and waiters. The lack of experience and motivation among many retailers' employees is particularly troublesome because these employees are often in direct contact with customers. Next is part-time employees. One method of controlling expenses is the use of part-time employees. Retailers' needs for store employees vary depending on the time of day, day of week, time of year, and promoting schedule. Last is about utilizing diverse employees group. In order to help the overall labor shortage and the perceived deficiencies of younger workers, retailers are increasingly turning to older employees because they are more reliable, having lower turnover rates, and often have better work performance. And also, the training costs are also lower for older people because they generally have had strong work experience. Okay, maybe that's all from me. The next presentation will be explained by Aqil. Aqil, time is yours.
Thank you, Fiona. The next is about the organization structure for a retail firm. The organization structure identifies the activities to be performed by specific employees and determines the line of authority and responsibility within the firm. The first step in developing an organizational structure is to determine the tasks that must be performed. The first one is single store retailer organization. Initially, the owner-manager of a single store may be the entire organization. When he went to lunch or came home, the shop was closed. As sales grow, owner-managers can hire employees. Coordinate and control employee activities are easier to do in a small store than in a large chain store. That the owner-manager simply assigns tasks to each employee and watches to see these tasks are properly performed. Because the number of employees is limited, single-store retailers have little specialization. Each employee may form various activities, whereas, where, whereas the owner-manager is responsible for all strategic decisions. As sales continue to increase, specialization in management may occur. The owner-manager hires additional management employees. The second one is organization of a national retail chain. In contrast to the management of a single store, the management of a retail chain is complex. Managers must supervise units that are geographically diverse. Merchandising, looking at the merchandising division, the senior vice president of merchandising works with buyers and planners to develop and coordinate the management of the retailer's merchandise offering and ensure that it is consistent with the firm's strategy. There are several levels of management in the merchandise division. The first is general merchandise managers or GMMs, divisional merchandise managers or DMMs, and buyers. Most large retailers have several GMMs who are responsible for several merchandise classification. Similarly, several DMMs report to each GMM and a number of buyers report to each DMM. Next slide, please. Okay, the last one is centralization and coordination. Two important organizational issues are the degree to which decision-making is centralized or decentralized, and the approaches used to coordinate merchandise and store management. The first issue translates into whether the decisions about activities such as merchandise management, information and distribution systems, and human resource management are made by region, district, or store managers or by managers in the corporate headquarters. The second issue arises because retailers divide merchandise and store management activities into different organizations within the firm. Thus, these interdependent activities must be coordinated. That's all from me. Back to moderator.
Okay, the last presentation will be explained by Santika. To Santika, time is yours.
Winning the employee talent war. The pool of potential retail employees is decreasing due to the changing demographic. There is a need for managers who can effectively deal with the increased complexities of retail jobs, such as the use of new technologies, increased global competitions, and a diverse workforce. The first is employment branding. The human resource departments for retailers such as Starbucks and Marriott are developing marketing programs to attract the right to attract the right to attract the and retain the best and brightest employees. These programs, called employment branding or employment marketing, involve undertaking marketing research to understand what potential and current employees are seeking, as well as why they think about the retailer. Developing a value proposition and employment brand image, communicating the brand image to potential employees, and then fulfilling the brand's promise by ensuring the employee experience matches the image created. And then the developing talents. Selection and training. The first step in building an engaged workforce is to recruit and train the right employees. Engagement increases when retailers are very selective in hiring people and make significant investment in training them. And organization culture, the final method for motivating and coordinating employees into develop a strong organization cultures. And organization culture is the set of values, traditions, and customs of a firm that guides employee behavior. Organizations culture often has a much stronger effect on employees' actions than the rewards through compensation plans, directions provided by supervisors, or written company's policies. Keeping talent, having selected, trained, and aligned the employees and the retailer's goals. Human resource management needs to keep the talent that is reduce turnover. High turnover reduce sales and increase costs. Sales are lost because inexperience. Replacement employees lack the skills and knowledge about company policy and merchandise to interact effectively with customers. Costs increase due to the needs to recruit and train new employees. And empowering employees empowerment is a process in which managers share power and decision-making authority with the employees. When employees have the authority to making decisions, they are more confident in their abilities, have a greater opportunity to provide service to customers, and are more committed to the firm's success. And then the engaging employees, there are 5 human resource management activities to build employees engagement. The first is reduce status difference, promote from within, enable employees to balance their careers and families, provide benefits, and use social media. The next is managing diversity. Managing the diversity, a more diverse labor force requires more and different management skills than was the case in the past. Managing diversity is a human resource management activity designed to realize the benefits of a diverse workforce, which includes but is not limited to skin color, nationality, gender, sexual orientation, and people with disabilities. Some legal restrictions promote diversity in the workplace by preventing retailers from practicing discrimination based on non-performance related employee characteristics. But retailers now recognize that promoting employees' diversity also can improve financial performance. And the last is legal issues in human resource management. The major legal and regulatory issues involving the management of retail employees are: the first is equal employment opportunity. The basic of equal employment opportunity regulation is to protect employees from unfair discrimination in the workplace. Companies cannot treat employees differently simply on the basis of their race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. There is a very limited set of circumstances in which employees can be treated differently. And the second is compensation. The compensation involves the criteria used to classify employees as managers who are repaid a salary and not eligible for overtime pay. A number of lawsuits have been filed by assistant managers claiming that they do the same job as hourly employees but are classified as managers so that the retail employer can avoid paying them overtime wage. However, many retailers feel that manager performs other activities such as interviewing jobs candidates, making schedules, and handling other supervisor duties. And the next is labor relations. Describe the process by which unions can be formed and the ways in which companies must deal with the unions. The precisely indicate how negotiation with unions must take place and what the parties can and cannot do. And then is employee safety and health. The basic premise of health is safety and laws is that the employers is obligated to provide each employee with an environment that is free of hazards that are likely to cause death or serious injury. And the next is sexual harassment. Sexual harassment includes unwelcome sexual advance, requests for sexual favors, and other inappropriate verbal or physical conduct. Harassment is not confined to requests for sexual favors in exchange for job considerations such as a rise or promotion. Customer can engage in sexual harassment as much as supervisors and coworkers. For example, if male customer is harassing a female servers in restaurant and the restaurant managers knows about it, there's nothing to stop the harassment. The employer can be held responsible for that sexual harassment. The last is employee privacy. Employee privacy protection is very limited. For example, employers can monitor email and telephone communications, search an employee's workspace and handbag, and require drug testing. However, employers cannot discriminate among employees when undertaking these activities unless they have a strong suspicion that specific employees are acting inappropriate. That's all for me. Back to moderator.
Okay, thank you, Santika. Maybe that's all from our presentation. If you had a question, please use the raise hand feature. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.